and
Megan O'Hanlon.
Megan O'Hanlon from the Budget Consultant's Office.
We're reconvening the budget hearings. We have the library before us. We have our library director who is going to give an opening statement.
Sure.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Timur Davis. I'm the library director of Orange Public Library currently. Appreciate coming back to the city of Orange and actually working for the city of Orange and helping out the constituents and the residents in the city of Orange. I want to open up.
Start. Do you want to tell us who's here with you?
Sure, no problem. We have with us Trustee Dr. Harris.
You're talking to the mic. I'm sorry. You got two of them. I think you got to do both.
Okay. We have Trustee Harris with us today, Dr. Harris. We have Nicole Amos, who's an administrative assistant. We also have our secretary, part-time secretary, David Butcher, with us here today. They're sitting in front over here.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I appreciate coming before the council this evening, and I appreciate the monies that you appropriate for Orange Public Library. Can you speak up?
Yes, please.
All right.
You appreciate the monies we appropriate for the Orange Public Library?
I definitely do.
Okay.
We definitely do.
Okay.
The citizens as well. It's come to my attention that City Council had reduced the library budget by 30% as of January 7th, 2014. And I'm looking to advocate for the library to make sure that we can have an increase in terms of making sure that all of the necessary services that the library can provide will be efficient for the citizens of the community of Orange. Just like to start by stating that the financial problems at Orange Public Library did not begin in January 2014 at all. In January 2010, Orange Public Library Board of Trustees had suspended a former executive director, and in her suspension, she was paid during her suspension a little over $113,000 and additional severance pay made up $150,000. During that particular time, concurrently, the library had hired a acting director during that particular time at $70,000 per year, and had hired an additional interim director, and I came in around February 2012 prior to being laid off during that particular time. I find that monies were actually dispersed and allocated towards this particular settlement based on union regulations. The person that was in the role of acting director was not paid on that particular time, so they had to give her retroactive pay, and there was additional monies being dispersed for the interim director as well. And needless to say that throughout that whole ordeal, the library was trying to find a permanent library director. So we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars being dispersed from the library to try to secure a library director during a 2-year time period. So I would say that between trying to find a replacement, more than $400,000 was spent trying to secure a library director during this particular time. That left the library in a very
$400,000 was spent between what period?
between 2010 and 2012,
Okay.
trying to secure a library director during this particular time. And so when you're spending money like that, when you're allocating monies and funds to try to secure a library director, we still had problems with the rotunda in the roof. We still had problems with the asbestos in the building, and we also had problems in certain areas. There still needed repairs inside of the building to this day. And I'm quite sure that the former board administration of the library knew this particular information and did not acknowledge that. In addition to monies being dispersed for employees, in some instances acting out of title, people actually being hired based on nepotism, so on and so forth. So that left the library in a financial precarious position in terms of being able to move forward, to be able to ascertain the necessary resources so that the library can function properly. At this point now, in that we we're not receiving the expenditures, or we're not receiving the appropriation from the council in terms of the $703,000 that we received previously. We're in dire need of an additional full-time children's librarian. We have a full-time reference librarian, but based on statutory law, it is required, based on the demographics of the Orange community, that we have 3 full-time licensed librarians with both a master's degree and also a library certification. And without having those particular resources in place in terms of the children's librarian, the reference librarian, and library director, without having a children's librarian, the patrons, the students that come into the library will not receive the adequate programs that are needed, the adequate book signings. We have books on the shelf that go as far back as 1950, you know. And so we are not up to par in terms of making sure that the public at large receive all the necessary resources, and we are in dire need of funds. Again, meanwhile, in 2010, the problems with the HVAC chiller system, which was estimated to be repaired at the amount of $81,000, was not repaired in 2011. This particular summer, we're going to have a problem because of the fact that with the chiller not being repaired, what's going to happen is we're going to have to close a couple of days, because if the library reaches a certain temperature, we have to close. That's statutory law. So that's going to be another problem. And I'm hoping that the library can actually stay open over the summer, because I engender upon having programs for the young adults, programs for the children, and programs for the adults as well. And I need the council's help. I really do. And so that's of utmost importance in terms of making sure that that repair is fixed, so that we can actually move forward, prepare our students with summer programs, reading programs. We're developing a reading program at this point now, so that the students can actually, and the parents as well, can appreciate the library. In addition, we have gotten a letter, correspondence from the New Jersey Historic Trust, indicating that the $750,000 that was extended to the library, I think it was last year or a year before, it's going to expire. So we actually had sent them back a letter.
Expired, what's the expiration date?
Expiration date should be sometime during September, and if it expires during the month of September, we have to expedite and make sure that all the repairs are fixed or needed to make sure, in terms of it being a historical building, we have to fix it even sooner. But I sent out the letter with hopes that they give us an additional year so that we can fix the needed repairs in the building. It is true, I was asked a question in regards to the leaks in the building. It is true that there are leaks in the building. Okay, the situation in terms of the roofing project was not complete. It was a patch job, and the public at large felt as if it was important that the library is open up for the public. When the library was closed, I read a lot of different news reports and kept up with some information, but a lot of the other neighboring libraries was very concerned about Orange Public Library being open. And for all those citizens and people that actually helped and advocated to open up the library, I really appreciate that, myself, on behalf of the staff and Board of Trustees as well. So we want to continue to move forward, continue to develop the necessary programs that are needed. I'm hoping to actually order overdrive, because a lot of the commuters that come into the library that commute back and forth from New York, the first thing they say is, well, I have a tablet. I want to be able to download books. And so we're looking to purchase overdrive. Overdrive is up to about $5,000, but it gives people 24 access to our library if they have smartphones, books, computers, so on and so forth, stuff like that. There are books that we need in our library. We have reference materials that go as far back as maybe 10 years. And so when we're trying to help people at large, when people come in to find very vital information in regards to statistics and what have you and demographics, we can't give them the proper information at this point now. Our computers are not working at all. I mean, we have problems with people being able to actually upload Adobe files. So people are coming into the library to actually fill out a resume, so on and so forth. They can't do it. And it's unfortunate. So now they get up and leave our library and go to the neighboring libraries like maybe West Orange Library, South Orange Library, so on and so forth, stuff like that. I think the library needs that particular type, and I'm looking to develop programs once we get the proper computers in place where we can actually do a resume class, a class where seniors can come in and learn how to use computers. Maybe they want to write their own book, I don't know. You know, those are some of the things that I would like to do in the library, but we don't have the resources. We are a 21st century library existing in the 19th century. Again, we have books on our shelves that go as far back as 1897. One thing I can say about the library, in which we do have a plethora of historical information on Orange that needs to be properly archived and properly managed and archived so that the public at large has access to that particular information. I think that that's a jewel of Orange. We have resources that in terms of Orange, that no other library in Essex County has at this point now. So we're trying to move forward and make sure that we can work with the council, work with the city, work with the patrons, and make sure that the public, get what they need in terms of library resources.
Thank you. You were prepared, and you've been. When did you start again?
I came back December 30th.
So I want to say December 30th. He called me in January, and he was prepared to present his budget. So I just want you to let you know.
Okay.
Councilman Williams, can I come present the budget tomorrow? So he's been prepared. So thank you for your passion. You said if everybody can pull out the salary sheets, because there's some things you have to address on the salary sheet.
Okay, great.
Everybody has a salary sheet? Mm-hmm. What did you have to address?
For director?
Obviously the library director is not vacant, correct?
Not vacant at all.
Okay, so your name should be in this position?
It should be in that position.
Okay.
You are correct.
And position 9, 13, and 15, and actually on the two on the back, are they all vacant at this point? And
Let me hold on just for a second.
Nothing on the back of mine.
there's nothing on the back of yours? Good.
I got it.
You have this salary sheet?
Yeah.
No, I have this. Nothing on the back.
Nothing on the back.
Yeah, there's 2 on the back, yeah.
Are you going to look at mine? You can share. Sure. Okay, great.
So are those positions vacant, 9, 11, 13, 15, and the 2 on the back? You got to talk into the mic.
We do have a library page at this point now. His name wasn't included. His name is David Clark.
On number 9, we could put David Clark. No, is it at that side?
He's number 5.
David Clark is number 5? Okay, and then that position is vacant. That is correct.
Number 9 is vacant, though.
It is correct.
So all those vacancies are current, okay.
These vacancies, with the exception of me, I'm here.
Right.
I'm happy to be here, but the other positions are vacant. That is correct.
And you're at the salary listed?
I am not at the salary listed. I at $70,000 at this point now. That's the salary where I'm at.
And so are you hoping to achieve 100,000 by?
Not necessarily, no. What happens is I put that line item in, and I was hoping to be somewhere between 70 and 85, something like that. I don't know.
That's and how many trustees do you have? How many trustees are on the board at the Y? I'm sorry.
On the board, it should be 7 trustees, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that the full complement, do you know, of trustees?
I think it's 7, yeah.
Okay, 7. If you don't have all the names, could you please send all the names of the trustees to the council?
Sure.
Okay. Council members, are there any questions regarding the salaries? And I think we should be looking at the 2014.
You have 15, Council President.
I know it should be 16. I think it needs to be 16 and 17.
Okay. And so the administrative assistant piece is filled also, is that correct? Number 17?
Number 17.
Yes and no. I'll tell you why. Because we do have somebody in that particular role, but they are not at that particular salary at this point now.
Is that a full-time or part-time salary?
That is a full-time salary at this point now.
Okay. So you wishing to, your desire is to make that full-time?
My desire is to make that full-time.
Well, if you have someone in it, why does it say vacant?
Why does it say vacant? Because that was an oversight on my behalf. I really apologize.
So can you tell us who's in it?
We have Nikki Amos in that particular position at this point now.
Is that Nikki Amos?
Yes.
And what is the part-time salary?
I don't know exactly because it's based on hourly wage.
What's the hourly
I
salary?
think it's, if I'm not mistaken, $17 an hour.
17 an hour?
Yeah.
At a maximum of how many hours per week?
Part-time, it should be about 25.
About 25?
Mhm.
No more. And you desire to make her full-time at a salary of $33,000 a year?
I'm hoping to.
Okay. Any other, and to get all of these positions filled, are these positions that were previously filled?
Yes, they were. In fact, to be quite honest with you, there were a list of more positions that was filled previously based on the previous administration. At one time, we have one maintenance person here now. At one time, the library had actually 2.5 maintenance persons. So we only have one. And we had, at one time, we had, if I'm not mistaken, let me just look. We had three full-time librarians, and we had about up to 3 or 4 part-timers. You know, the other thing that we're suffering from at this point now is vacations over the summer. I am working, as well as doing the administration. I also work the reference desk as well because we are short of staff. And so 2 nights out of the week, I leave about 7 o'clock, 7:30 to make sure that, we can still serve the public. And so we are in dire need of having an additional librarian there. And we also need a part-time librarian. The person, if you look at the item number 10, Catherine Green is no longer with us, so I was looking to actually fill that particular position with Catherine Green. She left early in January. She retired, so we were looking to actually fill that particular position because we need at least 1 full-time librarian in the reference department and 2 part-time librarians to make sure that we have enough staff and we can actually man the desk properly for the public.
Are there any other questions?
Council President, just for future references, it would be helpful if we can identify all these positions as being part-time or full-time.
Okay.
All right.
And even if you could send us an updated sheet.
Sure, no problem.
And actually, if you could, and you actually have further updates to what you've given us because of the retired personnel, and you're looking to fill that position, so I guess we would need to see what was encumbered regarding Ms. Green in 2014, and is she fully paid already, or do you owe, what will you have to pay out in 2014?
We don't have to pay out anything. She at all. She left. She moved on. She's paid up. I mean, we don't owe any money whatsoever to Ms. Green. She did great service at the library for over 15 years. She's a great person. She's
So all of her sick time, you said she retired.
Yeah.
So all of her sick, vacation, and all that's been paid already?
Yeah, those is taken care of.
Okay. If there, any other questions on the salary?
Yeah, I just have one.
Councilman Butler?
I guess my question is, it looks like you're increasing your security guards.
Yeah, that is correct. We do look forward to increasing the security guard because I think it's important to have a full-time security guard at the library to make sure that they can man the grounds of the library. Also, in addition to the full-time security guard, I think that it is important that the library have security cameras inside of the building, you know, to make sure that the library is safe, the public is safe. We can become very vigilant and watch what's going on inside the library. Not that we're going against the Fourth Amendment, but we want to make sure that the library is pretty much safe for the public.
Any other questions, salary? Moving on to the operating budget.
Well, maybe I do regarding salaries. When Council
I'm going to
President...
do the citizens' budget at the end of the operating. Sorry.
Council President asked you to introduce individuals who were here with you tonight. You named 3 individuals, one of whom was David Butcher. What's his title, role?
He's part-time security.
Okay, is he on this list?
No, this will be updated and sent back to the council.
So he's an employee.
He is.
And in part-time security?
That is correct.
Is there anyone else that we should know about?
In terms of here now, today?
No. In terms of working, but not on this list.
No.
Okay, thank you.
The operating.
Okay. We're at the operating. You want me to go line by line?
We can just ask questions.
Okay,
Councilman.
great.
Do you want to review it and ask any questions?
I have a question if you're entertaining them.
Councilman Corbett?
The endowment,
Yes.
it was in the 2013's budget. What happened to it?
When I looked at last year's budget, I noticed the endowment for 2013.
You have to speak.
I noticed the budget for the endowment for $30,000. We did not receive an endowment this upcoming year at all, so I didn't include that in this year's budget.
There also has been a lot of speculation that the library either has or will receive financial help from the state of New Jersey. Is that listed anywhere in your budget? Has that been received?
That is
Do you know
not-
anything about it?
Sorry, Councilman. That is not listed in our budget because I have no knowledge of that particular information at all. What I do know is that I had to resend back the $750,000 extension on that particular grant. The information in regards to additional funds for the library, I mean, if there are funds coming in, let me know because I don't know about any funds, and we're strapped for cash at this point now. So I don't know anything about any funds, and I'm being totally honest with you.
You had to send back $750,000?
No. I had to send back the information to actually extend the grant because
Oh, okay.
they're looking to
All right.
make sure that the grant expires. I'm a little nervous, so don't mind me. So
Got you.
right.
All right, that's all I have for this minute.
Okay.
Councilwoman Eason? Councilman Marable?
Yeah, I don't know if this is appropriately considered personnel or just a general question, but maybe I should have addressed it earlier. You said you have spent $400,000 over 2 years trying to secure a library director. Is that inaccurate? Did I hear that right?
You did hear that right. And I said that not me, under my particular administration. I'm talking about when, within the last 2 years, when the previous board president was there was practices that wasn't above board, and there was...
I don't know who there's been so many board presidents, I don't know
Okay.
who you're speaking about.
Okay. Well, in the last 2 years, since from 2010 to 2012, the library had more than 4 library directors at the salary above $75,000. Again, I will restate it. In 2010, when the person, George Walker, was suspended. She was suspended with a salary of $113,000, $113,506 per year, an additional settlement of $47,000.
Okay, so to be clear, when I hear you say you've spent that trying to secure, to me that means in the search of, you know, trying to advertise, you're saying money was given out, salary was given out for the position of director, but not in search of.
No, what happens is, for you to secure a library director, in the midst of your search, you have to have monies to make sure that you secure that particular person. We had such a turnaround rate in terms of maintaining a library director that the library organizational culture went in total turmoil, where a lot of records I can't find at this point now. No.
Sir, I'm trying to clearly understand how one could spend $400,000 in 2 years.
That person didn't balance the budget. That's why.
No. Balancing the budget is not, you're saying that you spent $400,000 real American
You're
dollars.
saying I spent it or the library spent
No,
it?
you're saying, your representation is the library spent $400,000 trying to secure a library director.
And that is correct.
How was that money spent, if you know?
That was spent in terms of hiring a consultant to be a library director concurrently with actually paying an acting director, and that's at the same time paying me.
But that's my point. Paying an acting director is not spending money in an attempt to secure a director. That's paying a director. That's what I'm trying to understand.
What I'm trying to explain to you, Councilman, is that that money was misappropriated because they should have paid her during the time that she was in the acting director's position, and they never paid her while she was acting director. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm basically saying is there is a misappropriation of funds because the funds should have been properly allocated. During the time that she was in position, the funds should have been properly allocated when the interim library director was there. The funds should have been properly allocated when I was there. Somebody mismanaged funds. And the mismanagement of funds is stemming from the Board of Trustees that was in position to maintain the finances of the library during that particular time.
So, Councilman, so I guess we're talking the use of words. So actually, the $400,000 was used on salaries over that course of period to pay various directors.
That is correct.
That's, okay. So that was. So it wasn't used to advertising, or it was used to pay various directors and salaries. Yeah. And in your opinion, it wasn't allocated the right.
In my opinion, to be quite honest with you, Madam President, is that should have been looked at during that particular time.
Gotcha.
And nobody looked into that.
Oh, well, a lot of people looked into it. It wasn't dealt with, but there was looked into it. But okay, so the $400,000, and as you're reviewing things, was not. Okay.
All right, it was represented to us at some point that the library was utilizing an accounting service out of state and that it was impractical to continue to do that. So here in this chambers, the then president of the board represented to us that someone in-house, an employee of the library, was doing the library's accounting, was issuing checks and the like. And I understand that precedes your return. But that, if anyone disagrees with that, speak up now.
What's the maintenance guy?
Right. Now, I see in 2013, there's a line, $8,000 for accounting and a dash.
2013. So what line item?
Accounting.
Accounting.
That's what we're talking about.
Is it okay, all the way down on the website, utilities and accounting, okay.
What does that dash mean? That no money was expended? Because it was subsequently representing to us that the library had, in fact, last year secured a company to do its accounting after there was some, bluster about this notion of the maintenance guy doing the bookkeeping. But that dash is not consistent with those representations.
2013?
2013.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
So what does the dash mean to you?
As far as I understand that there was no money spent.
Okay. Somewhat consistent with that, it suggests that From January 1st of this year until April 15th, only $112.50 has been spent for accounting. I guess my question is, does or does not the library have a company that does its accounting?
Well, we are in the midst of securing an accountant at this point now. We're speaking to numerous accountants, and we're in the midst of making sure that we secure our books. In addition to the books, the QuickBooks being out of whack, we have to make sure that we get all the QuickBooks in order in 6-month increments. Before the accountant even looks at that, because this is going as far back as 2011 when all the books were out of whack.
So you've been there since December 30th until today. During that time, to your knowledge, has the library utilized a professional accounting company?
I've talked to an accountant that actually dealt with the books.
Are you in a contractual agreement with one? Have you hired one? Are you utilizing one professionally?
We're intending upon actually securing a contract with accountants at this point now.
Okay, so from January 1st until at least April 15th, no, let's say until today, you don't have one.
An accountant. The library does not have an accountant?
That's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm asking, yeah, I'm repeating.
We're in the midst of securing an accountant right
So now
now.
you don't have an accountant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Who does your books? Who does the checks? I understand what you said about QuickBooks being out of whack, but who's doing it?
I'm responsible for making sure that all the checks are intact, and I do the checks.
Okay, so
Is it legal for me to do the checks?
does anyone on the council recall the representation that was made to us that the library had in fact resumed a relationship with an accounting company?
yeah, because they had stopped the maintenance guy from doing that, and they had acquired somebody else to take it over.
That is what we were told, correct?
That's what we were told.
Okay.
Now,
Director, is there any of the trustees assisting you with the accounting?
any trustees assisting me with accounting?
Yeah.
We have a treasurer that does the accounting with me.
And
And the
so-
treasurer is a financial expert, and we have Dr. Harris right here now.
And Dr. Harris is here.
Yes, he is.
So, did Dr. Harris prepare this report?
The budget,
This report,
we both prepared the report.
together?
Yes.
But Dr. Harris has been there how long? But to my recollection, you were on the Board of Education, so how long has he been in the library?
Come to the seat, Dr. Harris. How long have you been a trustee?
Come up
to
here.
the- Here.
It should be less than 6 months now.
So you've been a
Less than
trustee,
6
and
months.
and your full name, Dr. Harris?
Dr. Harris in Bulele.
Okay, and you've been a trustee for 6 months?
Yeah.
Dr. Harris,
Yes,
is Dr. Harris, in the absence of accounting, basically assisting with the accounting right now?
Dr. Harris and I had developed a budget. In terms of accounting, we're still trying to secure an
No,
accountant.
but we know there's no accountant there, so is he basically assisting with the accounting?
Yes, he is.
Okay, and he helped prepare this budget?
That is correct.
Okay.
So, Council President, whose name is on file with the bank to sign off on the checks?
Not me.
That's you.
Not yet.
No.
Not
yeah.
yet.
Because I'm just relatively new as a treasurer.
Yeah, let's get the...
I'm relatively new as a treasurer.
Thank you, Dr. One second, Dr. Harris. Director, who's the check signers?
Esney Sharp signs the checks.
Esney Sharp and,
Esney Sharp.
okay, you have one signer on your checks?
And there's the new board president that be signing checks. He just had to go to the bank and change the name.
Okay, but as of, right, we're speaking right now.
Esney
there's one
Sharp signs the
signer,
checks.
it's Esney Sharp on the check. Okay.
Yes.
Back to
Councilwoman,
Wait, one second, let me go back to Councilman. Go
Before
ahead.
you leave that thought, so in an account that you set up for the library, you have one signature on the checks? Isn't there supposed to be two on those accounts?
What do your bylaws state? So that would be
Over $10,000, there had to be two people signing the check.
under, not,
Over,
under 10,000, it's just one signature?
yeah,
And that's based on your bylaws?
yeah.
Okay.
But in today's environment, wouldn't it be more
It's another entity. We
to
have
have two signatures on all, that's where all companies are going, and you gotta have two signatures. So why wouldn't the library, for security and for
We can make that,
integrity have two signatures on a check.
we can make that recommendation. Now, here, the trustee is here hearing us that perhaps, I'm thinking the standard is, over 1,000 is 2 signatures, under 1,000 is 1. So if y'all entertain that before your board, and just update the council,
The council can make that recommendation, at least for integrity's sake.
okay, if you can, yeah, so just
Yeah.
give that, okay.
Right, and then we
But
can work with
Councilwoman
that.
Williams, I didn't know that there was, the council
coming, I'm
we
coming.
set up, there's 2 signatures, but I didn't know there was a, in the council that I've dealt with in the bank, they never asked for a minimum for 2 and a maximum for
Yes,
1.
It's
You-
according to your bylaws.
Bylaws.
It's
That's according to the library bylaws.
Right, it's a bylaw. And that's why when you are generally a nonprofit, or that type of, they ask you for your bylaws when you're setting up the account. Councilman Marable, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm, maybe at some point we'll be interested in 1, 2 signatures and the like, but today I'm interested in budgetary issues. And this notion that, again, it was represented to us that the library had ceased its relationship with its accountant, and that someone, a janitor or the like, I don't want to misstate.
I can't, excuse me, Councilman?
No, Mr. Davis.
Okay.
Here's, you started out really, really great.
Okay,
You
I'd
want
like to
the council
continue.
to help you.
We do.
The council is not going to help you if we don't feel comfortable helping you. So please, and I understand, and so that we all understand one another, just listen to the questions and answer him. And it's not personal, it's business. So listen to Councilman Merrill.
And it was represented to us that a janitor or someone at the library was handling the books, and I think the council as a whole expressed some, shock at that. It was subsequently represented that the library had in fact re-entered a relationship with an accountant, but the fact that no money was spent suggests that perhaps that representation was not true. And why no one has thought it necessary or appropriate to get an accounting company, and this is what I want you to hear, sir, goes to the heart of the distrust and the confusion this council has in giving you what you want, because there's no transparency, there's no documentation, there's no paper trail for anything. And if you don't have someone doing the books, it begs the question, what the heck is going on over there? So, not so much a question, but I just want to point out this notion of we're prioritizing the hiring of certain people in certain roles, and we haven't found an accountant, and we haven't spent $400,000 looking for them either. You also have legal services, which, again, the 2013 suggests that no money was spent. Are people providing you, or if you know, did people provide you with free legal services last year? Because I've been to board meetings, and there were lawyers there on behalf of the library. Are they working for free, or did they work for free because we've not shown any expenditure for any outlay of funds for legal services, if you know, in 2013, if you know, because I know you weren't there.
In 2013, I can't speak to that.
Okay. Well, we have asked in the past for specific information regarding the library's attorney, and it's not been provided. It was promised, but it's not been provided. So the notion that no money was spent in 2013 is also confusing to me. But let's go to 2014 when you were there. What did you need to expend $21,230 in the first 4 months of this year when you didn't spend anything last year? What is that for?
That would be right under accounting.
Yes,
No, under
legal
outside
services.
legal services.
Right, under accounting, right?
Right.
Under the accounting line as well.
Nothing last year, $21,000 in the first month of this year. What is that for?
The library has a lawyer. The Library Board of Trustees have a lawyer
To do what?
to deal with litigation.
Okay, litigation that you're currently embroiled in other words, active litigation?
Active litigation, that is correct.
Okay. Could you provide the council with a detailed list of every open litigation matter that you're involved in? Could you do that?
Sure.
Okay.
So that's the salary amount?
Is it Dr. Harris?
Yeah.
Is that the salary?
He is under, do you have?
He doesn't have that.
I didn't get the feeling
Can
that
you
they
share?
have one on retention by way of salary. They're
No,
paying,
he show, is that billing or salary? It's 36,000 budgeted. To date, as of April 15, 21,000 has been spent, and it's 14 left.
and again, my point is it would have to be litigation that started as of New Year's Day because you didn't expend a nickel last year regarding litigation.
But still, the question is that 21,000 what they paid out, or is it the salary for the attorney?
It's what's been billed, I suspect. It's what's been billed to that date, to April 15th.
As salary
For
to
legal
the
fees,
attorney?
not salary, legal fees. They don't have an attorney who works for the library. They have an attorney who is billing them for work, I'm
I
assuming.
thought they did.
Well, that's what Councilwoman
library
is
had-
asking. Is that a salary?
Excuse me,
Yes.
if you don't mind me interjecting, Councilwoman President. If you look at the line item for professional services, the legal services was actually expenditures under the $56,970 for professional services. Those were
Where are
considered the
you?
legal
Oh, well, you
services.
go back to 2013.
2013.
You're saying you spent $57,000 in legal fees, and it's under professional services, not outside legal services?
That is correct.
Well, if in fact you had $24,000 budgeted for it, how could you spend $57,000?
Again, I was not here during that particular time, but this is what was in the line item.
So, Ms. Harris, so when you did
My
this,
suggestion would
what,
be-
let me ask you a question. When this budget was done, were you looking at bills that you that were received and paid in 2013 when you created this?
No, I didn't see any bills,
So how,
you know, so.
Okay, what was your suggestion?
My own suggestion would be that we are being requested to go back and get the necessary documents.
Supporting documents?
Right, and then represent it to the.
Well, you can do that, but we still have to get through the hearing tonight. I hear what you said. So, and what the response may, and the response tonight to a question may be, I have to get back to you.
That's
But we do
right.
have to get through the hearing
But
tonight.
definitely, I did not see any documents. Yes.
For this legal services in
Right.
2013?
Right.
Okay, all right.
So,
Council President, here's what I'd like, and then I'm going to pass to someone else. On this general issue, and if you could take notes, I'd appreciate it. I would like the
His,
name,
and his administrative assistant is taking notes, Councilman Marble.
whoever.
Okay.
I would like the name and business address of any attorney who did work for the library in the last 2 years, calendar year 2013, calendar year 14. I've already asked you for a list of any open litigation cases for 2013 and 2014. And I would also like to see a copy of the contract or retainer agreement you have with any attorney or attorneys who's done work for the library. Because my assumption is that the board voted on that and that there's some record of it. We clear?
We are clear.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the rating?
The library was closed for 8 months, right?
That is correct.
What happened to the money that was allocated during those 8 months? If the library wasn't functioning, you should have had salaries and wages and operating expenses. What happened to that money?
Monies was spent to actually fix the building, the expenditures. Monies was spent on pension, to make sure that the pension was up to date. Monies was spent on union dues. Money was spent on repairs in terms of the technology room. So monies was allocated because we still needed to do a lot of fixing of the library prior to opening because there were a lot of violations, to my recollection.
So you took these,
And salaries were paid still.
Salaries were still paid because the library employees were actually dispersed throughout Essex County.
so you took the money from the budget lines and you just used it to make repairs and things of that nature?
Yeah, for example, with the former library director's salary, that library director salary actually went towards actually fixing or doing the fixing the roof, to fixing the floors in the building, to fixing the technology room. There had to be a whole reconstruction, remodeling in that particular area. There had to be some patch jobs had taken place throughout the building. So monies were allocated to actually making sure that we can actually abate those violations in the building and open it up for the public.
So are the pension payments up to date?
That is correct.
The pension payment is up to
That
current now?
Yes, ma'am. That is
When was
correct.
the last time you made a payment?
We made a payment, if I'm not mistaken, the last payment we had to make for last quarter was up to $28,000 for the pension, so we made that payment.
And when did you make it?
I'm not really sure. I can get back to you, Councilwoman.
Any other questions, Councilwoman Eason?
No, I'm thinking.
Council
Corbett?
President, yes. You're good because you actually spent for the employer pension contribution was like close to $30,000 for the first quarter of the year, according to this list here. All right. Security system. You didn't have anything. You didn't have anything budgeted for 2013. This year, you're asking for $2,000, of which $629.42 have been spent. What is that security system? What is that exactly?
Oh, okay. Let me look at that. Which one?
Under insurance?
Down below county.
Okay. Security system. Oh, that is the library building has an alarm system, and we usually have to pay that particular alarm system on a monthly basis. I think it's $300 per month that we have to pay to make sure that the building is properly alarmed.
You didn't have that last year?
Last year that wasn't spent because the library wasn't open. I mean, hold on, let me just check it. Hold on, my mistake.
Because I would say, even though if the library wasn't open, I would imagine that you would still have some sort
Some
of
security, yeah. So that was probably an oversight. Well, I apologize. I'll look back into it and get right back to you, sir.
Okay. Library automation.
Library automation.
Right. Last year, you actually $20,000. The variance was $20,000. Nothing for this year. So you're not planning on doing much automation this year.
No, we actually last year it was because we still needed to pay Powers Plus. Powers Plus was a system that was used when I was here before, and we went into litigation with Powers Plus, so we had to, do a major payoff for them. And we just recently made a payment to our new orthographic system up to $3,000 per year, so which is for the whole year. So we're paying $3,000 per year for orthographics at this point now.
Where would that be?
We made a payment.
Where would it show on the budget?
Okay.
Professional services.
Yeah.
Is it under professional services?
Yeah, actually it should be under software and databases.
Software and databases?
Yeah.
So 10,000 has been allocated for software, and to date, was April 15, 1,200 was spent.
Yeah. The reason why I had asked for 10,000, or I had put that as part of the line item, because I was hoping to actually receive purchase overdrive, where the patrons can actually have access to books and materials, to tablets, cell phones, so on and so forth. So that's why I put it at $10,000.
Under pest control,
Okay.
who you have a contract on pest control?
We do have a contractor on pest control. I can get back to it in terms of the name and the information.
Yeah, I would like to see that,
Okay.
because that's kind of, I don't know.
$130? $130?
That's what's been spent so far in the first quarter of the year. But they're actually asking for $3,000, as they did last year.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please do.
Mr. Davis, you have a payroll contract currently? Or is it just an agreement with a payroll company?
We do have a, as far as I understand, we do have a payroll contract with Prime Point.
And how long is the contract for?
I think it's for up to a year. I'm not exactly sure, but I can get back to you on that.
For 1 year. Is library is delinquent in paying the city for its health benefits. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Did you know that, Mr. Harris, that the health benefits are delinquent to the city?
No.
It's approximately $27,000, I think. Can you check that?
I'll
Because
check
your
that.
health benefits are paid for your employees, are paid through the city,
Mhm.
and it has not been paid. So can you get back to us on the status and why
Okay.
it has not been paid? And you spoke of the leak. So there's a current leak in the building right now?
It's not, last time, a couple of weeks ago, was a real hard rain, and so it was like a leak, yeah.
And while you were sitting here, it was a real hard rain. So with those hard rains, it will cause water to come into the library?
That is correct.
And is it in an area that is damaging the materials in the library?
It was a leak in the rotundant area of the library, and there's also, there was a leak in the 379 sections, the book section. Was,
And you spoke to the work that was done was actually
A patch job.
a patch job.
patch job.
Mhm.
Do you have the bids that were done to secure the person?
I can make sure I get
Can you
that for you.
provide that to this council? And what is the plan to, so that if you get the extension,
Yeah.
and then the matching, okay.
And I wanted to humbly, I'm sorry, Council, I'm sorry.
Councilwoman,
It's Titus. What's your name again?
Davis.
Two more,
Mr. Davis?
two more.
Two more. Though that, there were no bids for the roof. Am I correct?
To be honest with you, I'm gonna get back to you with the correct information. I do not know. For what I understand, there were bids, so I can get back to you with the correct.
Pre you, right?
This happened before me, but for what I understood, there were bids, so I can check, do the research, and make sure you get the information you need.
Okay, all right.
I just want to close out
Okay.
one question. I'm going to go back to pest control, and I'm going to suggest to you that you get with the Public Works Director, because he has someone in-house that's doing it. So if that, and he's doing the fire department, the police department as well. So why not partner up and do the library also? Yeah.
Is it possible to share services with the library? Because I know in some instances, they say that the library is really not a part of the city, so.
Let's
They
Shared
kind of
services
reminded us as a separate entity, so I think you're right about that.
Yeah, because we're constantly reminded that we're a separate entity.
But it's a simple thing as pest control. Let's just at least look into it and see if it's
Sir,
something that's.
sir, I will, sir.
All right, thank
You
you.
can do shared service with other entities, a shared service agreement, and there are grants out there for doing it. Library, what are the library hours?
Library hours
Yes.
are, Monday is 9 to 8. Tuesday is 9 to 6. Wednesday is 9 to 7. Thursday is 9 to 6. Friday is 9 to 7. We're not open during the weekends at this point now.
And are you consistent with these hours?
We are very consistent with those hours, ma'am.
Okay. And the Saturday is because of the staffing concerns?
Staffing concerns, budget, so on and so forth.
And you stated you needed a children's librarian?
We do.
And what employee on this list is currently doing the, working in the children's library?
The employee that's working in the children's department at this point now is Maria Barnes. What we had done was we made sure that we paid her appropriately in terms of based on union requirements. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're paying her now out of, that requirement in terms of being out of title.
Title, okay.
Mhm.
And you said you had 7 trustees?
As far as what I'm saying, yeah.
Doctor, who's the chair of the Board of Trustees?
You was here earlier on, there's,
Mr. Brooks, Norman Brooks?
Norman Brooks is the chair.
right.
Have all of your trustees been to trustee training and complete, I asked, have you been to trustee training?
No, I have not.
Or were you aware
personally.
there was a state trustee training?
I'm aware that there was a plan to have one.
Could you, when you report back to us, could you let us know the plan for the trustee training?
Definitely, we will do that.
Mr. Davis?
There's a trustee training that's taking place now, and we're signing trustees up to go to this trustee training.
Okay, so you are sending
Yeah,
trustees,
yeah,
okay.
to training.
All right, and you stated the repairs, and then I guess in your list, could you give us a complete list of what you think the repairs of what you have going out? What are you doing, what is your plan to serve your capital needs and the repairs and everything that are needed?
Okay, what is the timeline that you're giving me to get this done?
Tomorrow, no, just kidding. No, you can have it to the, what time, tell me what do you need, how long would it take you to respond?
I can respond within like about 7 days or less. I want to make sure.
So Monday's the 19th, so no later than a Tuesday after Memorial Day.
And, sure. And there's also a list of books that we need. There's computers that we need. So you want the laundry list, or you just want me to deal with the capital improvement?
You can give your list, because it should have been a part of this is your, I don't understand, when people come to present a budget and defend a budget, it's almost like you come here and,
Madam President, I'm your student now, so I'm learning from you.
you're our student, you have to, because you might not get a second bite at this apple coming back. Which we have to pass this budget and get it into the hands of the states by June. So you're at a tight, very tight, within 2 to 3 weeks. So it is, so you need to respond quickly. But the list, I guess in that list, and we won't spend a lot of time, but you should also provide us with grants that you're applying for. The Bill Gates is, I think the last computers that we received were through the Bill Gates Foundation, so.
About 2004, or what year was that?
It could have been, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, so it would be a great time to, return to that grant. A library is a place where you tend to get a lot of grants.
I agree. So in this list, I would include strategic initiatives, financial strategic initiatives that we're developing, an itemized list of what we need in terms of budget and what we're budgeting for and what we need in terms of, the fixing of the building. I'd also would include with this list a copy of the letter.
Did you send to the states?
Yeah, in terms
Okay.
of the extension, and then also grant possibilities, collaborations, if you will. And also let you know that we still owe for Rebel books. We owe a lot of money for Rebel
Okay,
books.
put it all.
I put it all down.
What would happen if this council decides not to, because the statutory requirement, I believe, is
It's-
$521,000.
that is correct.
What if, I would,
I'm asking you.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, listen, because if we have constantly funded above the statutory requirement and have not received from the library, and you don't have to defend, just, consider all of that.
And-
So going forward, you should,
Council President,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Davis, with regards to your leaky ceiling, what is the plan to get it repaired the proper way?
The plan to get it repaired the proper way is by having a contractor, a bona fide contractor come into the building to make sure that they vet the information, they find that, and to be quite honest with you, I totally believe that the whole roof needs to be fixed, in addition to the chiller. There was a quote for the chiller project for about $81,000. That was 3 years ago. So I'm assuming that the monies would be far more substantial now in 2014. And we're going to make sure that we find a bona fide contractor to come in and finish the project. We're hoping to move forward with that, with the response from this particular extension from the bond, so that we can have at least $600,000 to $700,000 to actually put towards that particular project.
So you're pretty much telling me right now that the area of the roof that's leaking right now has not been previously repaired?
Okay, no. There was a patch job, again, there was a patch job, and the patch job was a patch job. So that is correct.
All right.
The whole roof wasn't complete to date. No, it wasn't up, in terms of completion of.
So that area that's leaking now was never touched?
We cannot, Councilman, we probably cannot say that it was never touched. It was a past job, and there was the haste to reopen the library, having lost about 8 to 9 months. Okay, and this is why I'm also trying to use this moment to suggest that it is advisable that the city of Orange open on Saturdays, to make up for those lost months. See, the families and the children of this great city of Orange, they need to be compensated in such a way as to catch up. So it wasn't that it was not touched. It may not have been done properly, or it was not completely done.
My concern is if that area of the roof that is leaking right now was previously repaired, it should be the obligation of the individual that touched it to come back and repair it the proper way. Now, if he did not touch that area, I certainly agree with you in terms of going out with the contract and get it done the right way. Just want to be sure that that piece that's leaking right now was not previously done by the contractor who did the piecemeal job.
We will look into that.
Please do.
Nice
And
suggestion.
just
Please do.
respond, Ms.
Yes.
Any other questions from the council?
Yes,
Hi,
Council President.
Councilwoman Butler?
Just one quick question. You had mentioned that last year, I guess, salary and wages were used for operating expenses. Is that a permissible use of salary and
No,
wages
he-
according to your bylaws?
The salaries were paid.
Salaries were paid.
Well, he mentioned that I guess,
One line item out of the director's
you
salary
mentioned the director's salary.
was actually used to actually fix certain parts of the building so that we can open up.
Is that permissible? I know it's not for the city, that's why I'm just asking.
You have to see the
Is that-
bylaws.
Right,
Do you have-
that's my
Councilwoman
question.
Marble,
Do you have an
say?
answer?
Not at this point now, but I can get back to you.
Bylaws, sir? I'm sorry.
With? No.
No, but you do have a copy of the bylaws?
At home, yeah.
If you can find, can you send it out to the?
I don't think it speaks to that. It's not that specific, but
Okay,
I'll check it.
okay.
Can we
Are you
get a
done,
copy
Council?
of your bylaws?
Sure.
All right.
Councilwoman Williams?
Just a second, Councilwoman. Are you finished, Councilwoman Butler?
I'm done.
Councilwoman Easton?
One quick question. You talked about a children's librarian. You don't have one, right?
No, we don't.
There was one there that was there before, and she seemed so conscientious and she really loved the children. Why haven't you reached out to her?
She moved to California.
She did. She left the state.
Yes, she did.
Apparently you did. So apparently you did. Councilman Marable?
Yeah, I think this question is actually for Megan. This budget review preparation worksheet that we have, my recollection is that in 2012, we did fund to the tune of $703,000, but that last year we reduced the request and gave them less. Can we research that and find out?
We did it this year, Councilman, for the Bush, but we did it this year.
This year being 2014?
Yes, in the beginning when we were doing it, 3-year appropriation, 3-month appropriation.
No. I'm talking about last budget year, the full year, January to December. I thought we lowered that amount.
Okay.
I think at one point it was lower, but then brought up to the full funding level. It was $703,000 last year.
Okay.
And also, can you add to your list the status of the endowment? Are there other questions from council members? Mr. Harris said there, Davies, and Mr. Meyer, if you can do it for me in case their questions are for.
Bruce Meyer, Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. I will apologize in advance for the number of questions here. I'll try and make it as brief as possible, but the Budget Committee has been intimately involved in the library for the past 6 years. We're the first ones that demanded that the library come forth and present. And so we know the history of the library and the finances of the library and the different directors and all that very, very, very well. On the budget summary sheet, starting off operating income, endowments. There are 2 endowments. This is how the library got put into place. There is money there that cannot be touched, that is for the library. If you did not get any money for it, then there's something very, very, very wrong. There's absolutely no reason why you don't have or don't have the information. In fact, that is disturbing that you don't have the figures on the endowment or the knowledge of the endowment for the library in your budget. There's also state money that comes to libraries. Now, there was no money last year because the Library Board Trustee President did not submit the paperwork. And so he did not get the money. But I don't understand why it is not put in the expectation of getting that money in the future. So there's 2 on the income side of things that are glaring questions to me. You don't have to answer it now. I just want to see the money coming forward.
Okay.
Again, 90% of this predates you, and you're doing a wonderful job. I agree with everything you want to do. However, in order to give the library any money, we have to have the expectation that it's going someplace where it's safe, and it hasn't been in the past. Salary and wages. Approved budget, previous for 13, 253.5. Spent 460,000. Now, that was a year that the library was closed. 2 librarians were fired. A director that was making 100,000 was
Excuse me, Mr. Meyer.
fired.
You had 353. You had 353?
353
Okay.
is what was appropriated. 460 is what was spent. That's a difference of 106.5. At a time when there was, the library director was not getting paid because she was out of there the first week in January. That is when other librarians were fired, including the children's librarian. There's various other savings going through that year that were not needed because the library was closed. Also from last year's, from the previous year's budget, from talking and looking at the figures for the budget for the previous director that was run out of town in a year ago, January, there was $100,000 from even previous to her, the previous director, which had been reserved for pay, one of those $400,000 back and forth sort of things. That $100,000 was located and was placed with the Library Board of Trustees to be transferred into the operating budget per resolution as is required. So I know that there's money that was there for operational purposes. Also, in the last year's budget, part of the budget that was called upon from the then board president was a lawyer that had been hired, put on retainer by the Library Board of Trustees. This was brought up and said it was a mistake, that the money should have been there because, yes, they had retained a lawyer. One of the reasons why your predecessor was let go was the fact that the previous director disagreed with having a library lawyer, that the litigation going at that time was between libraries over a lending program, whether to be in it or not in it, and she said that between libraries you don't need lawyers. She could take care of that with a few phone calls. Whatever else is going on, I have no idea, but $57,000 for legal fees, be it professional services or whatever, in a time when the library is closed needs to be investigated by this body and perhaps some separate people investigating. Now, building maintenance, $18,000 in building maintenance costs. That was when the library is closed. There were a number of violations that were pointed out by the state. There was a whole list of them. They were never addressed, and the library was shut down. But eventually, some of those were addressed. There was some work done, a contract that was done through the spring and through the summer to the tune of, I believe it was $55,000, all done by the same contractor, and that was the work done on the floors and the ceiling and the wiring and a bunch of other sort of things. There is no contract available for that. There is no resolution per your lawyer. There is no notes or minutes from the board as to how that contract was let. When public pressure came to reopen the library at the board meetings, which I attended, other board members from the Citizens Budget Advisory Committee were there, and pressure was put on last fall that we needed the library open. At that point in the library trustee meeting, they said, well, I guess we could take a look and have somebody look at the roof. Until that time, nobody had gone up and looked at the roof whatsoever. Under pressure, there was 3 bids put out that were requested and came in. I sent copies to members of the City Council. 2 were by licensed contractors with certifications in various roofing materials and also experience in historic structures. One of those bids for a higher amount than the lowest bid was from a contractor who was not licensed, had no experience with roofing of that magnitude or with historic business. That is the person that was chosen, even though his work said, I cannot guarantee it, it will leak, this is only a patch job. The other 2 jobs that were turned down were to completely replace the flat portions of the roof with a new system membrane, guaranteed 10 years, fix and all the other leaks, completely guaranteed for 10 years. They were turned down. They also were surprised because they had really lowballed that amount and, to help out the library, and said that they were shocked that the library would leak shortly. So that is the part that's leaking. You already paid $56,000 for it. It was not done under the state bidding contract rules. There are no notes or reasons for doing any of those things as under bidding law per OPRA requests. So there you are. There is another contract that's out there that was suggested by the same unlicensed person that says that the whole roof needs to be replaced. I'd like to remind everybody that that roof was completely redone only a few years ago. It has a slate roof that's good for 120 years. It is part of the historic structure of the building. If money had been made available such that this contractor that was selected by the president of the trustees had been able to go to work and give that person that contract to supposedly fix the entire roof, part of that was stripping all the tiles, the slates off the roof, replacing them with ceramic tiles. It would have destroyed the historic nature of the library, and you would have lost any historic grants and probably had to pay back some of those grants that were already done. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the $750,000 historic grant. It's been going for a number of years. They've been using these various projects and things, and the question I've asked and asked and asked, how much of that $750,000 remains? I would like an answer for that.
Mr. Myers, I'll get back to you with the correct answer.
Okay, we've been talking about $750,000 grant. It's been going around. Everything is based upon it, and we don't even know how much money is left to match. The matching grant is,
For us,
you can't even start.
last time I recollected, it was about 663,653, but I'll give you the correct number.
Well, these are things that need to be known before one hands over money for a matching of it, because the match, according to the budget figures and things that have been put forth to the city council, has been for the full $750,000, which of course is not a correct figure. And it is certainly not, I don't think, from the number of projects that I know that have been done, I doubt that there's $600,000 left on that. According to your paperwork here, the budget, the pension contribution was not paid last year. It shows here that it was not, but you're saying that it was. It says 60,000 was budgeted, 60,000 was not paid. According to this, there was a problem because it was not paid last year. In fact, the treasurer of the board was asked to leave because she paid it without authorization, from what I hear. But are you telling me that it has been paid?
It has been paid.
Okay, so this is just another error on the sheet here.
The pensions, I don't believe that is an error. I think it was late last year, but it's current. He brought everything current.
I bought everything current since I came.
2013 actuals, okay, I mean, either it is or it isn't. I'm just saying the paperwork does not reflect it. The paperwork says no. Just like the paperwork says no legal services, when we've now been told it's, 57,000. Going down all the way, capital improvements. It has here repairs, air conditioning system and all like that. That's been ongoing for a long time. It's supposedly fixed. I don't know how many times. It was budgeted $86,960 in 2013 to fix that system. There's a heating and cooling element to that. According to this, $168,000, that's $81,500 more than what was budgeted even, was spent on those projects there. So going through, adding up what I know, what I have from OPRA requests for the work done at the library, even assuming that it had been done correctly, does not anywhere add up to all the amount of money claims spent. So to me, there's an awful lot of money missing here, and awful lot of legal work going on, and an awful lot of things happening that, and no compliance by the library. I notice you're taking notes now. You understand that the library is required under New Jersey law to comply with Public Records Act, to keep notes, to keep resolutions of the board and various things like that. Is the board aware of this? That you're under legal obligation to provide all those things? Yes, no?
We understand.
You understand? Do I have a nod?
Are you asking?
Yes. Did you realize that the board of which you're a part is legally responsible under the New Jersey law to take notes and keep accurate records, including resolutions? If you hire a contractor over a certain amount, you have to go through New Jersey law for public bidding. You have to make resolutions to hire people. There have to be documents for this. Are you aware of the requirements that the library has to meet? Is this something new?
I'm aware now.
Okay, it's part of the required training. Trustee, by law, New Jersey requires trustee training. So when there is reluctance by a city council to fund the library, it has nothing to do with you, sir, your fine programs, what you have looking for it. We all love the library. It is the center, the cultural center, heritage center of this city. But until we get some documentation, until we find out what has been happening at the library till we get a legal board of trustees. And by legal, I mean, according to New Jersey law, you cannot have somebody on the board who is part of the administration. It's a conflict of interest. You can work any kind of loophole you want to on it, but that is the biggest illegality that you can have. That person is still running the board, even if without the position. So I already know what the Budget Committee is thinking on this sort of stuff. We'd love to help you, but got some things to clean up first.
Okay,
Sorry it takes so long.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
1 second, Mr. Harris. Are you finished, Mr. Meyer?
Apart from being a member of this board, and I'm relatively new, but I'm a strong public advocate for the education of the children and the citizens of any city. I will beg of you, because I've listened to you on several occasions. Whatever information that you think you have, if you can make it available to we who are new on that board, right, give them to us.
I would be happy to share it with you.
I have expressed this to you on numerous occasions.
I have been
I have not
unable to.
received anything.
I have been.
There are some of us. There are people who believe in their own integrity.
I believe there are, but
right.
I have yet to find.
Mr. Meyer, 1 second.
I listen to you, and I will beg of you to also listen. There have to be some respecting relationship to be established. If you have all this information, Mr. Mayor, provide them, and you will see us put it to work. I am relatively new on the board, and I think I can boast of my own integrity. I do not just go to school. I do not come here to disrespect honorable men and women of this great city. I believe in advocating for those citizens who put us in places. We are accountable to those citizens. I am not accountable to myself. You are not accountable to yourself. At the end of the day, we are all accountable to those citizens, and we want to do a good job. Thank you very much.
Mr. Meyer?
Provide me.
I did not mean and do not mean to any way say anything that would say that you are not an honorable and good man, because I know that you are. The fact that you are here, this all happened prior to you, as prior to our good director. You are who we are looking to save our library. So this has nothing to do with that. I have been unable to find out, to get a list of trustees. I have requested and requested. You go on your web page, things work. The library trustees do not. You go onto the city website, it is not there. If you make a request, you do not get it. Just to get a few simple documents took me months to go through the then board president, because they would not accept the requests, even for the Open Public Records Act under New Jersey law. Certain people drove, your president at the time was very disrespectful to the clerk's office. They would not respond to the clerk's office, phone calls, requests, any of that sort of stuff. We have no working relationship with the library. It is, before the Budget Committee started looking into this, and you've seen what some of the problems are, you're the people cleaning it up. It was a completely on its own situation, and you haven't even mentioned the half of what was going on there. That's behind us. It's looking forward. But until you go back there and see the roof leaking because somebody hired a friend instead of doing the professional person to fix it with the 10-year guarantee, and then putting it to a vote, to the library trustees. The library trustees, there's some very good people on there. They don't know what's going on. Just like I can ask the director, it seems to me the first thing he would have found out is how much money is there in that trust? Can we get some of it? And what can we do with it? I'm finished.
And before we allow you to do your closing statements, were you aware that there was CDBG funds allocated to the library? And CDBG, so if you could look into that, make sure the funds are still available, and perhaps make an appointment with Director Mays and he can update you. And if you can ask whoever is the shop steward for your union representative, if they can put a copy of the most current contract on, just bring it to the clerk's office.
I was going to make mention, Madam President, we're in the midst of negotiating with the union. We talked to Renee Garzon. We're in the midst of negotiating because we have an old contract as far as 2009. So we're updating that contract right now.
Councilwoman Lisa, did you hear that? We've been here 6 months, and he walked into a contract that was outdated, and he's in the process of negotiating that contract right now.
For what?
They're union employees.
Oh, really?
It was
We are.
2009, it was outdated in negotiations. So the one that's current.
Good job.
That's very good. So the one that's, no, not the one you negotiate, so the one that's current, is the 2009 one, if you could put it on file with the clerk's office.
The 2009? Okay.
Okay, and the CDBG, you can make an appointment with Director Mays.
Definitely will.
Do you want to make a closing statement in 2 minutes?
Sure. Again, we are advocating for the library. We're looking to help the community as much as possible. I am not brand new to the library at all. I worked for the library for a number of years, and I know what to do and what's expected to make sure that the library develop goals and objectives that can actually enhance the community. I am not a thief. I am not involved with any impropriety of whatsoever. I am trying to make sure that the library functions. The Board of Trustees is working with me to make sure that we move forward. My last tenure here, that was not the case. This is a totally different case. As you can see, Dr. Harris is here taking time away from his family to be here to make sure that we advocate for the library. I understand that there's been some practices, but what we're trying to do is bring back a great amount of ethics to maintain the essence of the library and the community. And we are in dire need of funds to make sure that we can move forward. There will be communication on both behalves. You will not be left incommunicado. The assumption that I don't want to speak to the council or speak to citizens, it's not that I don't want to speak to them. I do not want to be put in a political quagmire whatsoever. I am a library director. I am here to run the library. That is my job. When people ask for research and information, so on and so forth, you can come in. If the council have any questions in regards to practices in the library, you can call me, because I will respond. The assumption that I will not respond and not act appropriately is not true. There's been counsel that called and asked questions, and I responded. I may not respond adequately all the time, but I will give you an answer, and if I don't know, I don't know. I'm willing to make sure the library functions properly. I'm willing to make sure that we get all the resources that we need to enhance our community, to enhance the academic level, because I see a lot of scholars coming out of Orange. And that's what I will do.
Yes. Well, Mr. Davis, thank you. And I will just briefly say, as you part with us, that I had the opportunity to come across two retired professors from Rutgers University who spoke very highly of you. So your reputation does precede itself. And I will tell you, council members, that I have gotten home at 10:30 at night, and because of things that were going on, Mr. Davis has called me at 10:30 at night, and he has received calls at 10:30 at night. So we understand your passion, your dedication.
Yeah.
And we look forward to what's going on going forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Harris, and thank you, Nicole, thank you, and security officer, I can't think of everybody, and Mr. Gasman as well, thank you.
Councilman Weed,
Yes.
I just want to make a suggestion. In
Before
light
he
of
leaves, you talking to
No.
us?
In light of the storm that's happening, Marty Mays needs to get